I want to congratulate you for being a health conscious individual and for being curious. What is the most important number that you currently do not know about your health? Well, I'm Art Napolitano. I'm an expert in direct to consumer marketing. I've traveled to 23 countries. I've helped tens of thousands of people to get involved in starting their own business. And recently, I evaluated a company that had a breakthrough product and was backed by science that was indisputable. And I got so excited that I could make a difference in millions of people's lives. Now, I'm not an expert in health and wellness, but I have an inner circle who is. And today I've assembled some of these important people to help us dig into what is the most important number you do not know. So joining me on the panel today is Dr. Natalie Cather, also a Master of Sciences, Mr. Stephen Chernisky, and also Mr. Stuart Tomp. Now, the three of these individuals are experts in this field. And I want to first go to Dr. Natalie Cather. She's a double board certified medical doctor. She's had her own practice. She's worked with big pharma companies to do clinical research, and she's worked in the natural products arena. Her husband is Stephen Chernisky. Stephen's been a friend of mine for over 30 years. We actually worked together in another program. Stephen's been the chief science officer of 4 different direct-to-consumer companies. Stephen started the first federally licensed laboratory in the United States. He directed it, and they specialized in immunology and nutrition. And he's got an incredible resume. In fact, he's had millions of books sold. And I'm really grateful that I asked both of these people to help me evaluate the dry blood spot test and to really look at the science behind the company Zinzino. So let's start out with Dr. Natalie. Could you just share with me what is the most important number we do not know?
The most important number we do not know is the balance between our omega-6 fatty acids to our omega-3 fatty acids. And this balance is really important because it relates back to where we are at controlling our inflammation. And most of us suffer from inflammation, not the inflammation we're aware of, or the achy back or the achy knee, but silent inflammation. So inflamed, unhappy areas of our body that are in our brain, in our blood vessels, in our heart, and in our gut. And this test, the dried blood spot test that you mentioned, is the first step in finding out that important information.
Well, thank you, Natalie. You mentioned inflammation. It's interesting that National Geographic just published this magazine, dedicated the entire magazine to anti-inflammation. And in here, the World Health Organization said inflammation is the biggest threat to human health on the planet today. So this is a big topic. Now, Stephen, again, we go back a long time. When Zinzino first came on my radar as a business opportunity recently, a company out of Scandinavia, traded on the NASDAQ stock exchange. They had their own manufacturing, they had their own R&D, but I really couldn't judge whether this was real science. There's so many companies on the internet selling their products and telling these stories that you don't know if it's something you should ignore or explore. And I know you and Natalie had your own business called Healthy Skeptics. You did your own shows, and you really tell people what they should ignore and what they should explore. So why should we explore this dry blood spot test, Zinzino, and the product we call BalanceOil?
Well, number one is a simple checklist. Okay, so when I look at a company, I ask a couple of things. Number one, nutrition is a science. So does this company have scientists? The answer is yes, they have scientists. In fact, I think a stellar group of scientists. Their science advisory board looks like a who's who in nutrition. At the same time, scientists are one thing, but do they have a laboratory where they can do real research? And the answer is yes. Zinzino is associated with one of the best clinical and research laboratories in the world. Number three, do these scientists working in this laboratory do really good quality research that can be published in peer-reviewed biomedical journals? The answer there is Zinzino, big check mark. Hundreds of articles published in biomedical journals. And finally, is this research that they're publishing really that cutting edge? Because if it is, you ought to be able to get what? Patents Does Zinzino have a patent portfolio? Yeah, they do. So for me, Artie, this was a no thing. This was a slam dunk in terms of evaluating this company. They are among the top 3 R&D companies doing this work in the entire planet.
You told me when I asked you about this subject, you said, Artie, Google for yourself the importance between omega-3 and omega-6 ratio in your body. And for all of our viewers, I encourage you to do the same. He also told me Google about inflammation. He says the world needs to be educated about this. Now, when you talk about the science behind Zinzino and the Science Advisory Board, I'm proud that Zinzino actually added you to the Zinzino Advisory Board, both Natalie and Stephen. And when you talk about the Science Board, it starts with a Dr. Paul Clayton. One of his many books is Out of the Fire, where he talks about why inflammation is the root cause of many health problems. So this really is so important to learn this balance. Now, we have another expert with us on the panel. Stuart Tomk was the former global ambassador and global educator for the largest fish oil company in the world, and that was Nordic Naturals. Now, Stuart has got an incredible background, has traveled all over the world educating people on this, and he's assembled a team of incredible scientists and doctors that have taken on the mission of the Zinzino opportunity. Now, Stuart, when you represented the biggest company in the world selling omega-3, why would you switch gears and be part of the Zinzino opportunity? And what makes this balanced oil different or maybe better?
Well, this is the most important number for health that you do not know. And most people have never thought about testing to find out if the omega-3s that they're taking are actually working. Now, I've helped sell over $1 billion worth of dietary supplements, and I think it will be unthinkable 10 years from now to not test first before you take dietary supplements. And the reason that I joined Zinzino, and the scientists that are friends of mine and the medical experts have also joined, is because we have a mission to ease the suffering of others and to correct the global omega-3 deficiency. More than 97% of the world is deficient in omega-3. So if you're taking omega-3 right now, how do you know it's working? The difference between our system, our balanced concept, is that we have a way for you to test, take, and retest to find out if you are in balance. And our oil is different. The balanced oil is not omega-3 fish oil. It's oily fish in liquid form. In fact, every bottle of balanced oil is equivalent to eating 30 pieces of salmon and 300 olives. It's a Mediterranean diet in a bottle. So this is the single most important mission of my life. And everyone needs to know their omega number. We will all know our omega-6/3 balance score within the next 10 years. So don't wait. Find out what your number is today. Start testing and stop guessing.
Stuart, I agree with you. In fact, I was someone who had a heart issue 3 years ago. In fact, the filming of this today, it was 3 years ago today. I'm so blessed to be here today. And I started taking omega-3. I was taking some other things. My doctors prescribed things. I was taking it just like 500 million people on the planet take omega-3. In fact, a billion people take supplements. All of them should be taking omega-3. But I was in that group that was taking it, and I went and got tested, and I found out I was still 12 omega-6 to 3 to 1 omega-3. And then 4 months of using this product that costs less than a cup of coffee a day, I ended up bringing my numbers down to 3.3 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. And I ended up doing research on PubMed. I read about studies for heart health and found that if I could get down to 4 to 1, I could increase my chances to be healthy long-term dramatically. So I'm going to come back to Dr. Natalie on this. You know, what is this omega-6 and omega-3, and why is these numbers really that important?
Well, our cell membranes are where these fatty acids are located, and our cell membranes are more fluid when we have a good balance between our omega-6 and our omega-3. If we have too much omega-6, Then we have a stiff cell membrane, and it makes it difficult for the nutrients to get in, for the waste products to get out. A term I call cellular constipation.
Stephen, I know you have incredible experience in natural products. In fact, you were part of a group that worked with a billionaire, and you built the largest plant-based medicinal plant-based library in the entire world. You actually developed natural products and sold patents to pharmaceutical companies. So how can a natural product really make a difference? And again, the balance oil, why is it different?
Well, you mentioned my experience in this arena, and I got to tell you, we did build the world's largest medicinal plant library, but we were focused on what? Inflammation. It's that important. We're talking about something which is critical for every man and woman on the planet to understand and know. And now with a simple blood spot test, you can get the number that you really need so that you can take the product that you really need to get back into balance. And again, I'm going to say the balance here is very simple and straightforward. Is how much omega-6 fats are in your cells and how much omega-3 fats. We know this is not guesswork. We know that the ratio used to be, right, in the hunting and gathering diet, about 1-to-1. And then what happened? We started eating more meat. And then what happened? We started inventing all of these different fats, these hydrogenated fats. Then we started making fake fats. And then we started creating trans fats. All of these get your ratio so far out of balance that most people find themselves right now so far out of balance. And that is a problem, because what does that do? It creates inflammation. What else does it do? As Natalie just said, your cells don't work right. And if your cells are not functioning properly, how can your tissues, how can your glands, how can your organs function optimally? This is the very foundation of health. And this is why Zinzino's mission is so important.
Well, thank you, Stephen. Stuart, I need to ask you, as someone who's seen it all in the omega-3 space, in fact, friends of mine call you Mr. Omega, the Omega Man. And I know when you learned about Zinzino, you dug into all the research. You actually flew out to Oslo. You met me out there. You met the CEO. You met the founders of the company. You went with me to Vetus Laboratory and met Dr. Gunderson, who's founded Vetus. It was just an independent laboratory from Zinzino, and all the tests go there. Now, for all of our viewers and for all of our friends and family, the question is, how do you trust the information you're seeing on the internet? Or how you trust this information from just a friend who doesn't know this subject? So, Stuart, could you just talk a little bit about that experience and what you felt from what you saw there? And maybe also share with us the kind of people you've been attracting to represent the Zinzino brand.
Yes, I just came back from Oslo, Norway. I had to see it myself. I went to Vitas Analytics, and I met Dr. Thomas Gunderson, who's the CEO and Chief Science Officer. And this laboratory, this omega-3 laboratory, and they do other research there, was incredible to me, Artie. I gave the first omega-3 blood spot test out 18 years ago. 18 years ago to executives at Whole Foods, GNC, and Vitamin Shop. And it got lost in translation, meaning they rarely ever took the test, and they certainly didn't tell their customers to take the test. Well, Vitas Analytics has tested 1.5 million, almost 1.5 million people, and has the largest database in the world of omega-6, omega-3 blood scores. It was beautiful. It's at the Science Center in Oslo, Norway. Then I went to the manufacturing facility. I've been to many different manufacturing facilities for different dietary supplement companies. This place was so clean, so organized, so beautiful. We went on a tour, and then we got to meet the founders of the company and the leadership and the executive staff. And now I understand why Zinzino will be the largest personalized nutrition company in the world. And because of this quality control, because of doctors like Dr. Natalie and scientists like Stephen Chernisky and the other scientists that are part of the medical advisory team, I was able to help attract some of the top omega-3 scientists in the world that have combined hundreds of years worth of experience. Michael Lewis, retired Colonel Michael Lewis, MD, MPH, MBA, the author of When Brains Collide. He's one of the foremost experts in the world on omega-3 and traumatic brain injury. He's joined the team. Dr. Michael Garko, the host of Let's Talk Nutrition. He's a professor, he's an educator, and was the host of the top radio show in the country for nutrition. He's heard it all, and he joined the team. Dr. Scott Minton, my colleague, is the former chief science officer from Nordic Naturals. He also saw the vision, the quality control, the products of Zinzino, and he joined the team. Dr. Steven Schmitz, who runs Supplement Safety Solutions. He's also part of Zinzino. The list goes on and on. Captain Joe Hiblin, MD, professor, retired from the National Institutes of Health, perhaps the foremost expert in the world on neuropsychiatric disorders and omega-3 deficiency. Dr. Carrie Marshall, epidemiologist, naturopathic doctor, and she was the global lipid expert for DSM, one of the biggest manufacturers for omega-3 that put algae into infant baby formula. And then Dr. Joe Maroon, who's the neurosurgeon for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the author of Fish Oil, the Natural Anti-Inflammatory. These are some of the most important names in omega-3, and they have signed on to dedicate their lives to help you understand why omega-3, omega-6 balance score is the single most important number you don't know for health. And I echo exactly what Dr. Natalie said and what Stephen said. This is critical for cellular health. And I've learned from both of them that when we correct the omega-3 deficiency, we build a better body. And that's why I invite everyone to make an appointment and to learn more about what we're doing here to join our Zinzino team.
Well, thank you, Stuart. Consider out of the 1.5 million people tested worldwide, that here in the United States, that number is only about 34,000. As an American living in the Northeast of America, I have a second home in Spain, and I travel around the world. I work around the world. And when I learned about this Scandinavian company and I saw their history, how they grew to 200 million euros in sales and turnover this past year, and I saw their growth over the last decade plus, a double digits. I saw if you were an investor, you were receiving a dividend for the last 11 years in a row, which is remarkable. I saw a company that was ready to explode. Now, there's two choices you have at this point. Number one, you should get tested. You should start testing and stop guessing. So we have right here a way that you can schedule a call, get back to the person who referred you here, and we can get you sorted out so you can get a blood screening so you can find out what your essential fatty acid score is. In fact, we have an incredible offer where you can not only get one test, you can get a second test in 4 months and get a free bottle of oil. So to learn more about that offer, you'll be shocked at how affordable this is. You need to, again, schedule your call. But we're also looking for health entrepreneurs. See, I'm a businessman. I look for opportunities that are just about to explode. I always want to identify trends. I want to know I'm at the right place at the right time. I want to be able to help change a paradigm and how people think about their health. You know your blood pressure, you're told to know your HDL, your LDL, your cholesterol, triglycerides. I was doing all those things, but I never was told I should test my essential fatty acids. Now, again, like probably most of you, you're not the expert, neither am I, but these are some of the experts that see the vision of what we're doing here with Zinzino, and all of them want to make a difference for you. And I want to make a difference for my family and my kids. That's why I got them all tested. This is the most important thing I've ever done in my life. I want to thank my panel, Dr. Natalie Cather, Stephen Chiniski, Stuart Tomp. You people are amazing. You give me so much more confidence in the decision that we all made together to be part of Zinzino. And again, please, if you're new here, just keep guessing. You need to start testing. Go here, right here. Put your information in. We'll get back to you. We'll answer all your questions. We have a lot of backup material to share with you, but schedule that call right now. And again, thank you for joining us.
If you're serious about taking control of your health, this is the right place to start. To learn more, connect with us today. We'll guide you through the complete process. If you're ready to get started, Simply scan the QR code provided and order your test kit directly from the official Swedish company website for India. For your safety, avoid buying from e-commerce platforms in India, as duplicate products are widely circulating. Don't compromise on what you put into your body.